Hello, everyone. Welcome to Revenant Voices. Thank you for coming back and listening to another Revenant story we have for you. So I'm going to let my guest introduce you herself. Tell me a little bit your name and what your Revenant voice is.
My name is Shannon Morrisey, and what I consider my Revenant voice is being able to find it for the first time at age 40.
Yeah.
I was born with a disability, and everybody was thrown into survival mode when I was born. Mm-hmm. So they were my voice for me. So I didn't really ever get to know what my voice sounded like until I was 40. I was an athlete. I lived by the phrase, actions speak louder than words, because that's what I had. I was a great athlete. I was very successful. I always hid behind that persona.
Yeah.
The perfect
that ego drivenness.
Ego. And never really knew who Shannon was.
Yeah.
And even through my marriage, I was his shadow for 16 years. I never really got to know who I was because I was living his life. I kind of just shifted because I wanted to get out of the spotlight, because I grew up as the poster child for Notre Dame, and then I went straight into athletics, and all of that entailed being in front of the camera, being in newspapers, and just being in the spotlight. And I wanted to get away from that.
Yeah.
So
understandable. So you kind of shifted from complete in the spotlight till you didn't want to be seen, and so you picked a partner that was that you could kind of
extrovert.
An extreme extrovert. Okay.
That's putting it lightly, but
usually is when they're when you're not together with the person anymore.
And what I found out was that I was taking my habits with me. Mm-hmm. I was trying to not only get out of the spotlight, but to create a different life for myself, and it was different, but it wasn't mine.
Yeah.
And that's where I struggled. I was trying to rebuild myself without rebuilding myself.
Like establish an identity without really knowing what you wanted to be, kind of thing?
Or knew who I was.
Or knew who you were, yeah.
And then after that, the turning point was when my best friend was killed in a car accident in 21. Mm-hmm. I always drank quite a bit, but when he passed away, the alcohol consumption got really bad. So I ended up having to leave because I didn't have the support that I needed, not only to grieve his death, but to...
You mean your ex-husband? You left your ex-husband?
At
that time, okay.
Yes. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I just want to make sure. Yeah.
And then I didn't have the support that I had out in Ohio that I had back here. I grew up in Kansas City, so all my whole family was back here. And I needed to get out of that environment to get some more support.
Yeah.
Because if I kept going down the road that I was going, I wasn't going to make it physically, literally.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I came back here, and again, I didn't leave my habits behind.
Mm-hmm. You just kept going with the pattern, the cycle. You're like, oh, new city, same me. Yeah, I've been there. I get that.
So I didn't. Without knowing who I was, it's hard to transition.
Yeah.
Yes, the alcohol consumption slowed down, but it didn't stop. And
still using it as a crutch.
Yes. I couldn't be by myself without a crutch. I couldn't. I didn't know how to function without a crutch, basically.
Yeah.
So while it wasn't nearly as much or as potent, it was still there. Mm-hmm. And then a couple of years later, I've been back in Kansas City for a little over 4 years. Mm-hmm. So a couple of years later, I ended up in the hospital. Not for that, but because I had a severe infection that I contracted somehow. Mm-hmm. And that's when everything turned around in a positive way. I had to die to myself in order to find out who I really am as a person.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. Well, I mean, kind of touch on that a little bit because, I mean, it wasn't just a hospital stay. It was an entire year bedridden at a hospital where you had your only support system was yourself, your higher power, and the nurses that kind of got you through that. And I know that you found somewhat of a community online, but really that's when you had that time to separate from all of the noise and the people from. So kind of touch on that, because that's a big piece of your Revenant voice.
When I got there, I was only 6 days sober. Mm-hmm. And the detox, I wasn't just trying to survive physically from the infection, which was a skin infection, but I was trying to detox at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I was forced to.
Yeah.
And
you're like, thanks, God. Like that's usually, God's like, I'm going to take you, since you're not learning your lesson, I'm going to put you over here by yourself. Yeah. He put you in timeout. Yeah.
For a while. Yeah. Sometimes I still feel like I am. So
yeah. Me too. I'm like, okay, I get it. I need to be humble today. That's fine.
I just need to be with me and you, and we're good.
Yep.
But after the first 40 days, I went septic twice. Mm-hmm. I had 10 surgeries in the first 22 days to get rid of all the infection.
Excuse my French, but holy shit. Yeah, 10 surgeries.
In 22 days. And then through the entire year, I went through over 100 IVs because my veins kept blowing. Mm-hmm. 2 midlines, 2 PICC lines, and a wound vac that I was on for 6 months.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So, but that wasn't the hard part. Mm-hmm. The hard part was sitting with myself in the beginning. Mm-hmm. But
one person you've never met before.
Yes.
Yeah.
And kind of knowing what I wanted to do with my life, but not really knowing how, mm-hmm. because I didn't know who I was.
And what did you do previously before this?
I worked with people with developmental disabilities. Mm-hmm. I was an employment specialist. I was a job coach.
So you would help people with disabilities find jobs?
Yes.
And create job opportunities.
And help them on site.
Awesome.
Learning the job skills and how to interact with their employer and their coworkers and things like that. Mm-hmm. Learn how to ask for help, and I'm not really good at that either. So that was a challenge.
It's so funny how the teacher is so like, as you know, I can teach all day, but then sometimes I will choke on my own lessons.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm so great at advice that I need to take myself.
I've gotten 2x4s upside the head all my life.
Yeah, exactly.
And this was a big one.
Yeah.
I was an employment specialist. We worked out in the community with groups of high school kids for a while. I did that for a few years, doing volunteer work and helping them learn their community. That way, they can make their own decisions instead of their caretakers or parents being able to say, "This is what we're going to do," this is what we're going to do today, and they say, "No, this is what I want to do today."
Yeah. Which is huge for a lot of people with disabilities. They do not give those options, and it's becoming more and more within the community that we're allowing them to make decisions and stuff like that for themselves. So that's an awesome resource. But so you went from doing that for your entire career to then going into this hospital and having to do all these surgeries and everything. So I'm assuming and you were trying to figure out, okay, what's next for me?
God cleared my slate.
Yeah.
He completely wiped it clean. Mm-hmm. And I am building from the ground up. Yeah. Literally, with experience behind me. Yeah. That I have from my previous life. So to speak. And I'm still trying to figure out what that looks like, because I'm still trying to figure out my energy level. Being on bed rest and having that many surgeries, and I'm still fighting an infection. Mm-hmm. I still am fighting a bone infection, and I'm still have an open wound, and just got over a UTI. So my body doesn't like me right now.
Right. Yeah.
So trying to figure out my limits, or lack thereof.
Some kind of balance, so you can even go and do whatever it is you want to or need to do. When you're fighting against things that everyone else is taking for granted, health is huge, and when everyone's taking that for granted, you need to find a good meter for you, because somebody else would say, like, I don't know why you can't do that. It doesn't.
And I was in that position too.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, why can't you? I understand that now.
Right. we're going to talk about God humbling, you know, and you had spoken to me a little bit about that previously, where it's like you were trying to, you know, within your job and your parameters, you're trying to show other people how to get on Medicaid or why they can't do this or why they can't do that. And now God's like, I'm going to show you why.
Helping employers understand that they can only make so much or they're losing their insurance.
Yeah.
Slow down, Shannon. If we lose our insurance,
mm-hmm.
I don't want to be extreme, but we could die.
No, it's a reality.
It's our reality,
right?
And people don't understand that. They think it's all about SSDI and SSI and the money itself. It's not about the money.
Mm-hmm.
It's about how much you can make in order to
even like have any kind
get
of
the care that you need.
Yeah.
And don't even get me started with the cuts, but we're not going to go there today.
Okay, yeah. That'll be a next one. But yeah.
But it's just learning how to manage that myself.
Mm-hmm.
Learning how to ask for help has been huge.
Mm-hmm.
And learning how to set boundaries has been huge.
Because you want to ask for help, but you don't want to create a codependency, right?
My goal is to be able to live on my own for the most part now.
Okay.
And that's what I told the people that I still have help that comes
mm-hmm.
to my house.
Yeah.
12 hours a day during the day. And to help me with various things. And basically right now they're there to make my life easier. Mm-hmm. Not do everything for me, but to make my life easier. And do things when I don't have the energy to do it.
Yeah.
So that's what been humbling in itself.
Mm-hmm.
To go from being completely independent, being able to live on my own, have a quote unquote normal life, to mm-hmm. not feeling like you have one.
Yeah, not having to rearrange, right?
But it feels like some days it feels like I'm not doing a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
But in retrospect, I am, because my body's still healing. And not just my physical body, but internally, I'm still healing. Because what I found is that you can only heal so much on your own.
Yeah.
You have to go out and have different experiences to be able to figure out where you're at.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly believe that, like, you were talking even about taking yourself out of environments. And it's like, I think for my journey, yeah, I can take myself out of that environment completely, but to really change the pattern, you have to then, okay, now you're replanted into this new pot. What are you growing into now? You have to be very intentional with what you spend your time on, what your boundaries are, and because you don't want to put limitations on yourself, which you can obviously tell you don't put any limitations on yourself, but you have to have realistic pacing. I don't know if that's like the right way to say it, but that's kind of what I've learned in mine, was just like, okay, Abigail, you can, right now, because you're going through this, and this, you can have some grace. Here's a cup of grace. Calm down.
Or a bucket.
or a bucket of grace. Just here's a little bit. Give yourself, like, you don't have to I feel like our personalities are to, especially when you've been bound, and you felt like you lost an entire year of your life healing.
I gained everything. I didn't lose anything.
Well, I like that. I like that a lot better. You did. You gained so much internally.
It feels like it in the moment, but mm-hmm. when you look back at it, what I found is that you several different things can exist at the same time.
Yeah.
You can be grateful. You can understand that life is happening for you instead of to you.
Mm-hmm.
You can understand that your story and what you're going through right now is going to help millions of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I truly believe that, because I can now truly put myself in the position to help the people that I was serving before I got to the hospital on their level. Because I don't want to say on their level, because there's not different levels.
No, but
more
you've
deeply.
lived it now.
Deeply.
You can relate to what they're going through, and you can help them on because you can now, you have the behind the scenes to maneuver through both sides of that curtain,
but the one thing that I was doing before I ended up in the hospital,
mm-hmm.
and it seemed, the thing that, this is going to sound weird because I was at peace when this happened.
Yeah.
And I didn't know why. I lost my job in January of 24.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up in the hospital in June of 24.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say God to clean my slate completely, He started from my job.
Uh-huh.
So I wouldn't have to worry about anything while I was in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I went through hundreds of interviews.
Yeah.
Between that 6 month span. And no bites, no offers, no nothing.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it was because I wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy how that works though? Where you're like, oh my God, that's why this happened. And so when my kids' dad was, passing last year, I went through similar situations where I was like, I don't understand why this is not working the way I want it to work. Like, I clearly have a plan, God. You see my plan. It's pretty. I wrote it in glitter pen. And he's like, that's not my plan. That's not what I want for you. And you're like, but it's in glitter pen, So
what I found is that the things that we have to go through in order to get to be people that we are, we would not do it if we were not forced.
True. That's so true.
I would definitely not go through what I went through in the last couple of years to become who I am.
I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
I'm so dang stubborn that I had to.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. The stubbornness that comes behind that fight between your spiritual side and what you're going through in real life, and like that whole tug of war that you go back and forth with, like, it is very euphoric is an overused word, but I feel like it's very like unexplainable, because like even if me and you sat here and we had the same exact life, stories, which not many do, but we would be experiencing extremely different perspectives and lives within that one, story dynamic of it. And so I think it's really cool that within your job, your career, because I don't like the word job, but within your career and your purpose, that you're able to now use, God put you in a position where you can now use your own story to help people. And especially because the different types of, I don't want to say people with disabilities, but ways that someone can be eligible for a disability. Does that make sense?
Yes. And going through what I went through, even in the last 5 years, going back before the hospital.
Yeah.
Abuse.
Yeah.
Divorce. You name it. Alcohol.
Yeah.
Addiction. I can help more people than just with disabilities.
Right.
And I was watching a podcast. I watched it like 60 times, so I'm not even going to say 2 months ago. It was just today.
Yeah,
I watched it again. So the guest that was on there, he has no legs and one arm.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going through the healing process himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he said as he's been going through this healing process, he realizes that, and this just flowed out of his mouth. It was not a mic drop, but it was for me, because I could feel it. It just flew out of his mouth. He said, once you go through this healing process, you realize that everybody has a disability. You can just see mine.
Yeah.
And
we've talked about that before. I love that part. It's like, say it one more time so we can mic drop. I'll add a little drop.
It's not even mine, but okay.
Okay. I'll put him at the bottom. We'll give you some cred, man.
Going through my healing process, and I'm speaking as me, because it's the same thing, basically.
Yeah.
Going through my healing process, you realize that everybody has a disability, and you can just see mine.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. Everybody goes through different things in life. Mm-hmm. And this is what bothers me the most. And I'm going to touch on it a little bit. I'm not going to.
No, go for it.
The word inspiration. Mm-hmm. Hate it. Loathe it.
Yeah.
Because you can be your own inspiration.
Yeah.
You don't need somebody else to do that for you. You just have to have you just have to go within to be able to find it. Because everybody goes through different things in life. Mm-hmm. And what you go through and the perspective in which you have while going through it is what makes you who you are.
Yeah,
I truly believe that.
How you mold your mindset as you're experiencing that, whatever it is, whether it's grief, whether it's your health, whether it's whatever life event you're going through, and I've noticed this with other people within my life, and like going through similar like addiction. Me and my brother are both addicts, and we're both recovering alcoholics. His story is completely different, obviously, than mine. Same house and everything, but I've noticed that some people, while they're going through this healing journey, they're chipping away at all of the stuff that no longer serves them anymore. So I'm like, yep, I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. And whereas another person's, they're like, oh, well, at least I'm sober. You know what I mean? And I don't mean that in like a negative way, but I mean in like some people are willing to do the work to chip at who their person is underneath all of these, like you had said, crutches. right? We use all of these crutches. And I feel like the more, and we've touched base on this on another episode, but it was just like a revenant voice is like you're in the same body, but you're dying over and over and over again. And like, I'm only in my 32. And so in my 30, I have added up 9 times. 9 times I've killed myself on purpose. And some of it was like, I was pushed into it. And some of it was like, I've lived in a car, I've lived in a $500,000 house. You know what I mean? And I've had like so different sides of each spectrum. And like you said, even like your disability does not define you, but it's a piece of your story that you can help others with. And so is your sobriety. So is your spirituality. So is, any piece of you is an enlightenment to other people. But it's funny that you say that like inspiration bugs you, because that's how I feel with hope. The word hope, it's everywhere. It's like, I hope, it's hope, everybody hopes. I'm like, what does that even mean? What do you even mean, your hope? Because it's something that either you have it or you don't. And it's not, I don't feel like you can learn hope. I don't want to go too left field with that, but I just think that hope and inspiration and all these big fluffy words are really there. There's something within us, and like you can inspire yourself, you can give yourself hope, but it's not just something that like is above, on the wall. I see hope on the wall all the time. Do you have it on your wall before I open my, okay, good.
Not yet.
Not yet. You're like, I might know. Okay, well, next time I come for the next episode, I'm going to be like, sorry, guys. Yeah, so then like with, we're going to wrap it up. And with that, it's like, what moving forward, what revenant voice, now that you have lived through this piece of your life at 40, because you're going to be 41 soon, right?
44.
44
I'll be 45.
soon. Okay, girl, you look, and so to, at this placement in your life, what do you want someone that might be in your position or in going through what you've just gone through that would take them to the next level, that would get them through this Passover time?
Understand that, and I was trying to touch this, I was going in the direction of touching on this before. Mm-hmm. Feel everything.
Feel everything.
And understand that there are many things that can exist at the same time. Mm-hmm. You can be grateful. You can understand why things are happening for you. And you can still be in a position and have a feeling like this sucks. Mm-hmm. I'm miserable. I don't want to go through this. This is awful. And I want you want to, you can scream, cry, and throw stuff all over the place and still be grateful for what you're going through.
Yeah. Finding gratitude within the most unbearable, You
don't have to have gratitude while you're in that mood. But you can
find it.
Understand where it fits.
Yeah.
Just because you're down right now does not mean that you're going to be down forever.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to be weak. Don't be afraid to give yourself permission to slow down and take a breath and know that you deserve that, because regardless of what other people go through, you need to come first.
Yeah.
Because if you don't come first, you're going to be pouring from an empty cup and it's not going to serve anybody. Take care of yourself first. And in today's society, that seems selfish. It comes off as selfish, but it really isn't. Because if you don't put yourself first, you are going to be pouring from an empty cup, and it's not going to be who you are authentically.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of times, I touch on this a lot, where it's with that empty cup reference, you don't even really notice that you're pouring from an empty cup until you're thirsty.
Yep.
And you realize that no one else was pouring back into the cup that you were pouring out of, and so you're refining and rechanneling. Okay, Bella's going to stop us on that. But thank you guys all for coming, listening to Shannon's story. I appreciate you all, and have a beautiful day.